Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It is January 8th, 2025, and Barcelona just defeated Athletic Club de Bilbao in the semifinal of the Spanish Super Cup. And with this victory, Barcelona are through the final. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mo, and this is the post-match live analysis where we analyze Barcelona matches as soon as they end, and where I get to interact with you lovely people in the chat section by reading your comments, answering your questions, and getting a discussion going. This, of course, is not to be confused with the Barcelona podcast, where we discuss Barcelona news and where I also get to interact with you lovely people. By the way, speaking of podcasts, I know today is Wednesday, and it is podcast day, and there will be a podcast. I know we're doing a match review right now, which is usually when the podcast begin. But as soon as the match review is over, we're going to do the podcast because, of course, there's plenty of news to cover. So stay tuned to the channel. Don't go anywhere because the podcast will start after this match review. Now, having said all that, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. If you're looking for any Barcelona jerseys or merchandise, make sure to Goal Kids, Get Back, or Fanatics. If you're looking to place any sports bets, make sure to bet us. All links are in the description. And let's begin with the match analysis because, ladies and gentlemen, we're starting the year off on a good note. Barcelona just defeated Athletic Club de Bilbao 0-2 with goals of Gabi and Lamine Yamal. And as such, Barcelona are through to the final of the Spanish Super Cup, which will be played on Sunday. I think that's the 12th, if I'm not mistaken, versus either Real Madrid or Mallorca. Madrid and Mallorca will play their semifinal tomorrow, and the winner will face Barcelona in the final. Now, this was overall, it was a strange match. And I say that because it was a serious match by Barcelona. This was not, let's say, a repeat of the last few matches of the end of the first half of the season, like Leganés and Las Palmas. It was not. I saw Barcelona that was very serious. I saw Barcelona that came out really focused, very determined. However, there were moments during the match where we did see a little bit of flashbacks from those bad matches against Las Palmas and Leganés, etc. But overall, it was a serious match by Barcelona. Barcelona, they came out very focused, very intense, looking to dominate the match. I think the beginning of the first half was very, very strong. Barcelona were moving the ball really quickly. They were creating chances. We weren't able to finalize all the chances, but nonetheless, Barcelona were being dangerous. Now, towards the end of the first half, we did see Athletic Club de Bilbao a lot more, pressuring Barcelona a lot more. Barcelona losing the ball, not being able to recover it as easily as they were at the beginning, but they were still in control. Even though Athletic Club de Bilbao were putting a lot of pressure on Barcelona, they were attacking constantly, Barcelona still looked like they were in control. They were able to defend those attacks. They were able to diffuse the danger. And first half, Barcelona looked like they were in control, even when they didn't have the ball, even when they didn't have possession, they still looked like in control. They went to halftime up 1-0 with goal of Gabi, or 0-1. Second half, again, they came out really strong, creating chances, circulating the ball, putting a lot of pressure on Athletic Club de Bilbao. And then after the second goal, after Lamine Yamal's second goal, that's when I saw Barcelona drop the intensity during the final 20 minutes. A lot of it also had to do with the substitutions. We saw, Frankie de Jong come in for Gabi. And I have to say, I said this about Ansu Fati during a post-match live analysis in Copa del Rey when we played against Unión Deportiva de Barbastro. And I said, I think I'm done with Ansu Fati. I mean, the guy just cannot perform to save his own life, even against a fourth-tier team. And I think today I can comfortably say that I'm just done with Frankie. I'm done with Frankie. I've been tired of Frankie for quite some time. I think he's been at Barcelona for 6 years, and during those 6 years, he never, ever lived up to the hype that we all had of him. But he still had good moments here and there, right? He still had chunks of different seasons where he performed well. Again, not up to the expectations that we all had of him, but, acceptable performance where you can okay, yeah, at least he's performing. But he's been highly inconsistent. And this season, I gotta tell you, I'm done with Frankie. Today was no different. Today he caused the goal. Thank God it was ruled offside. But and it wasn't just the goal that Frankie de Jong caused. It was just as soon as he came in, you could see this ball circulation in the midfield com- completely disappear because he just holds the ball too quickly. He insists on always going in circles around himself. Like, I don't know what's up with that. Um, Absolutely disappointing. I think I'm done with Frankie. All the money we've paid for his signing, all the money we've paid for his salary, all the money we continue to pay for his salary, the very inconsistent performances over the period of 6 years. We're not talking about 1 season or 3 months. We're talking about 6 years. And this season, he's just been awful. I think Barcelona should do everything they can to get rid of him because I'm just done with Frankie de Jong. But anyways, continuing on in the match, the last 20 minutes of the second half, I did not like what I saw. I saw the team that dropped intensity. I saw a team that wasn't trying to recover the ball as fast as before whenever they lost it. And as such, they did give Athletic Club de Bilbao a lot more. I guess they allowed Athletic Club de Bilbao to dominate the last few 20 minutes. And I didn't like that. And I think that kind of was a little bit reminiscent of the last 6 matches of the first half of the season. And it also showed, it showed what the 2 different Barcelonas that we saw during the first half of the season, right? We saw the Barcelona that when they play at their best form, it's a team that's very dangerous, that can compete against anyone. But when they drop their intensity, it's a team that their opponents can become just as good or even better, right? And it's kind of like a dichotomy that's going on with Barcelona, where again, when they play with full intensity, when they play at the top of their form, they're one of the best teams in Europe. But as far as individual quality, we don't have that individual quality to where if the team drops their intensity, they can still be good, right? This is not Pep Guardiola's Barca, where that had Xavi, Iniesta, Messi, all those players that even when those players played at half an intensity, they were still better than most teams because they were just that good. This team is not that team. This team is incredibly good when they play at the top of their form. But when they drop their intensity, they're not, because we don't have that much individual quality where the players can decrease their intensity and still be an incredibly competitive team. That's just not the case. And we saw it, right? We saw how during the first 70 minutes, Barcelona were focused, they were intense, and they were dominating. Last 20 minutes, they decreased their intensity, and all of a sudden, Athletic Club de Bilbao are dominating, right? So I think this was kind of like what we saw during the first half of the season, beginning of the season, a team that can compete against anyone. During the last few matches of the first half of the season, not so much. And that's what we saw during the match. That's why I say it was a little bit of a strange match because, again, it was a serious match. Barcelona looked focused. They came out playing a lot of intensity. They looked to dominate. But when they dropped their intensity, we saw a different Barcelona. So hopefully this is a lesson to Barcelona, to the players that, look, when you compete at your best, you are one of the best teams in Europe, undoubtedly, and you can beat anyone. But as soon as you decrease your intensity, you don't. So something that the players need to keep in mind. But overall, not the best of performances, but good performance. Barcelona showed up, did their job, got the victory through their final. And I think we really needed this win. Not so much because what it means sporting wise or financially, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but also because given everything that the team has gone through these last few weeks with the whole Dani Olmo, Pau Victor registration saga, the selling of the assets, the morale of the locker room being down. I think this victory going into the final, having both Pau Victor and Dani Olmo registered, which I'll talk about in the podcast, I think all this is a very important victory for the team to celebrate, because had we lost today, you can only imagine how much more pressure the team would have been under, and that could have only meant disaster in other competitions. So it was a very important win for the players' morale, for the locker room's morale, especially after everything they've been through. And of course, sporting wise, we have to be in the final of the Spanish Super Cup. And financially speaking, we just made 7 million euros, right? 6 million euros for participating in the cup, another million for making it to the final. So we're at 7 million. If we win the final, that's another 2 for a total of 9. And again, given the club's financial situation, that's very much welcome. Now, this is the formation. Oh, by the way, I have Gabi's picture there. What a match by Gabi. Okay, we all just applaud him. A goal and an assist. Great goal, by the way, too. Beautiful play on that first goal. Rafinha steals the ball, passes it to Pedri. Pedri filters it to Balde. Balde makes the cross, like typical Barcelona play, right? Just triangulation, quick passes, and Gabi pushes it in. And then the second goal, Gabi's pass to Lamine Yamal. What a pass. Amazing match by Gabi. And, when Gabi scores, we all just celebrate double because we all know what the club means to Gabi and what Gabi means to the club. He's the heart of this team. All his teammates say it. And to see him, score after being off the field for an entire year with that serious injury, with the surgery, with all the rehab he had to do, to see him score, to see him assist, was incredibly happy for Gabi, who was, by the way, chosen the MVP of the match. But to me, honestly, the MVP was Pedri, but we'll talk about it in a little bit. Let's first look at the formation that Hansi Flick chose. Wojciech Szczesny. It looks like Wojciech Szczesny got to be the goalkeeper today. It was supposed to be Iñaki Peña, but Peña showed up late to the activation session. An activation session is exactly what it sounds like. It's a session before the match where the players show up, warm up, get their heart rate up, get their muscles warm, stretch, etc. And it looks like Iñaki Peña was late to the activation session, and we know that Hansi Flick really stresses discipline. So he was like, sorry, buddy, but I guess you're going to the bench. So I guess kind of like a punishment. And Wojciech Szczesny came into in his place. Now, let's talk about Szczesny real quick because those saves, I think at this point, I would not hesitate to put Szczesny in the final. I think Szczesny, given his experience, given his resume, all the years that he's played, the clubs that he's played for, the competition that he's played, I think he gives you that confidence. And you can see it. Like Szczesny was there. It was like, it didn't matter for him. It didn't matter if he was debuting for Barca. It didn't matter if it was a semifinal or if he was playing for his local neighborhood team. He was just there comfortable. Like it was nothing, right? And you could see his confidence in every time he would come out. You could see his confidence in every time he would stop, make a stop. And Szczesny just gives you that confidence. Hey, I have a veteran back there, someone who's experienced, someone who's competed at the highest level, someone who's been one of the best goalkeepers or top 10 goalkeepers in Europe in the last few years. And Szczesny just gives you that confidence. And I think I would not hesitate to have Szczesny in the final. I would actually prefer to have Szczesny in the final because, again, he just gives you that confidence, And Szczesny gives you those saves that if a regular goalkeeper misses, you're like, okay, I can't blame him. It's a pretty tough save. Not many goalkeepers. But someone like Szczesny, top goalkeepers, they're capable of making no saves, which, again, most goalkeepers can't. So if it's a regular goalkeeper, you're like, all right, I don't blame him. It's a tough save. But Szczesny gives you those saves that are impossible for most, but he can make himself because he's he's a top goalkeeper. He's an elite goalkeeper. And I really liked what I saw. And again, I wouldn't hesitate to put him in the final. Now, in the two center backs, of course, Cubarsí and Iñigo Martinez, it looks like that's it for Flick. Flick, I think that's going to be his, those two have been his center backs this whole season. And it looks like they will continue to be his two center backs, even with Ronald Araujo being back from injury. Christensen pretty soon is going to get the green light. But it looks like we're staying with Cubarsí and Iñigo, which I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I think that's a great thing. I think the two of them work together really well. But we're going to have to wait and see how Araujo is going to respond to this. Is he going to, look at this as a challenge and try to earn his spot back? Or is he going to flee, go running somewhere else? We'll have to wait and see. Koundé on the right back, of course. Alejandro Balde. Really good match for Alejandro Balde during the first 70 minutes. He was very, very active with the attack. I think creating a lot of damage. I mean, the first goal came from his side. It was an assist by him. Last 20 minutes, it's like he lost his focus. And that left flank just became a huge, huge weakness for the team. Athletic Club Bilbao were just consistently attacking from that side. I think Hansi Flick did a great job substituting Balde for Gerard Martin. And Gerard Martin only played, 10, 12 minutes? Excellent 10, 12 minutes. He also had an excellent performance against Barbastro. Yes, 4th division team. But we're starting to see Gerard Martin slowly getting more and more comfortable in that position on the first team. And we're starting to see better and better performances. Again, Hansi Flick wanted Barcelona to renew Gerard Martin because he sees something in him. And everybody was like, oh, Gerard Martin sucks, sell him, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, hold on a second. He only played like 10 minutes and you guys already want to crucify him for 10 minutes. And look, he's improving. I mean, that's what happens when you go from 3rd division to 1st division. It's going to take you some time to get used to it. He's getting used to it. And if Flick sees something in him, it's because he probably has something to be looked at, right? But, that's how Barcelona fans are. Very reactionary. You have 2 minutes of bad performance and all of a sudden you suck. You should retire. But anyways, good performance by Gerard Martin, even though, again, it was just for 10 minutes. Marc Casado and Pedri in the midfield with Gabi, Lamine Yamal, Rafinha, and Lewandowski. Now, Pedri, I have to talk about Pedri because today, another masterclass by Pedri. And I think, and I can say this confidently, yes, Lamine Yamal is our most skilled player and he's our biggest star. But I think Pedri is the most important player for Hansi Flick's scheme of play. Undoubtedly, especially when he's given the freedom, which that's exactly what happened today. Pedri was just given the freedom to roam, go, and we saw Pedri on the right, on the left, in the middle, up, down. Pedri was all over the field, and Pedri at this point is the brain of this team. Pedri is the orchestra leader of this team. He's the one who manages the tempos. He's the one who leads the attacks. He is the one who sets the tempo. He's the one who does everything. Pedri right now is the orchestra leader, and I think Pedri is the most important player right now for Flick. Again, Yamal is the most skilled one, our big star, but it's Pedri who is the brain of this operation. An incredibly masterclass by Pedri. Again, to me, he was the MVP. Not to take anything away from Gabi, because I think Gabi also had a really good match. Again, a goal and assist. To see Gabi score and assist, I mean, it was just a special moment. Now, another player I want to talk about, Rafinha. A really bad match by Rafinha. Today, he wasn't Coutinho. Today, he was just Rafinha. I don't know what it was. I don't know if he, just came back from a long vacation, the winter break, plus he didn't play against Barbastro. Maybe he just, he still needs to get back into competitive rhythm again. That could be it. But really bad match by him. A lot of misses, both in passing and in shots. He was losing the ball a lot. Just a completely different Rafinha from the past matches. But, I guess he was due for one, right? So far, Rafinha has been absolutely excellent. And, nobody can have 100% great matches, right? Just impossible. Even Messi used to have bad matches. So I think Rafinha was just due for one. Today, it was that one. Hopefully in the final, we'll see Coutinho back. And again, if we're going to have Rafinha have a bad match, I'd rather him have a bad semifinal than a bad final. But not a good match by Rafinha. And then Lewandowski, it was a strange match by Lewandowski because as far as his job as a striker, he did a horrible job. He was never in the box, which is something that I've complained a lot about. It's like, for God's sake, stay in the freaking box. That's your job. You're a striker. He's Lewandowski performs best when he's in the box. And yet 90% of the time I saw him in the midfield. And it's like, dude, stop. You're not a midfielder. Stay in the freaking box. So as far as a striker, horrible job. He didn't do his job at all. Didn't stay in the box. But he was key in a lot of the buildups, which was weird. There was a lot of plays where he helped in the buildup and was important in the buildup, which I guess good job, but that's not your job. So it's like, dude, just stay in a freaking box. So it was a weird match to judge Lewandowski because, again, as far as his job as a striker, awful. I would give him a 0. He just was not in the box. But as far as helping the team in the buildup, I would give him an 8. Which, again, it's not your job. So it's weird to give him an 8 for a job he wasn't even supposed to be doing to begin with. It's like giving, I don't know, Pau Cubarsí be like, great job being a goalkeeper, even though that's not really his job. So, I don't know. Weird match, but Rafinha Lewandowski today ghosting completely. Lamine Yamal doing what Lamine Yamal always does, dribbling past players and making it look like playing football is as easy as, I don't know, drinking a sip of water. Again, MVP for me, Pedri. And overall, great win. On to the final. Let's hope the team does not relax in the last 20 minutes like they did today, because I think against a stronger opponent like Real Madrid, you just cannot relax the way they did the final 20 minutes. But overall, good performance. Not the best performance, but good performance. Important victory, financially speaking, sporting-wise, and for the morale of the players. On to the final, and we'll find out tomorrow who we're going to be playing. All right, let's do some comments and then we'll end this live stream. Remember, I am doing the podcast later tonight, so stay tuned to the channel. And who gives an F says Nico Leao. Isaac Gyökeres, movement up here. I'm done with that poor attack. The same Barcelona we all know and love. My only question to you is, with what money, my friend? We can't even register players we already have. How are we gonna get all those players that you're suggesting? There's FIFA Manager mode, and then there's real life, right? Two different things. Cherno says, "Hey Mo, I'm happy to catch up with the live match analysis. Watching from Gambia and West Africa. Looking forward to welcoming you here one day. Love you and Bisca Barca always." Thank you, my friend. Thank you for always catching the lives and for your comments. Yes, Bisca Barca. By the way, I'm very curious. I always see people from Gambia always say watching from the Gambia. Is that like I don't know, a slogan? Is that a way to say? Because I always see the Gambia. It's never like, oh, watching from Gambia, Africa. So it's the Gambia. I'm just curious. So if you want to clarify in the chat section, that'd be amazing. All right, let's see. John says, "Hey, Mom, happy we won the game, and also the fact that we can now register Dani Olmo and Pau Victor." Yes, definitely a good day to celebrate the registration of Dani Olmo and Pau Victor. Celebrate this victory. I'll talk about more about the registrations during the podcast. All right, let's see. Who gives an F says Gabi's our true warrior. I love him so much. He really is. He really is the heart of this team. I was very, very happy to see him score, and the way he celebrated, and the way he dedicated his goal to Dani Olmo, doing the clock or it's time or whatever the hell it is celebration. I think that was really cool. It just shows how Gabi is just so loved in the locker room, how much he loves his teammates, to celebrate the goal like that. So really special moment. I was very happy to see Gabi score and assist. Really, really, really special. Mez says, Cubarsí and Inigo are so good together. Sucks that Araujo's in this. Yeah, it really does. Again, it's kind of like with the Pablo Torres situation, right? It's not that Pablo Torres sucks and he's awful. No, he's really good. He's talented. He's skilled. But unfortunately, you're competing against people like Casado and Pedri and Gabi and Dani Olmo. And it sucks, right? Because he's a good player, but there's other players who are better than him. And the same thing with Cubarsí and Inigo. I don't know if each of them are individually better than Araujo. Araujo could be better than the two of them, individually speaking. But Inigo and Cubarsí together are just amazing. I mean, the chemistry between them, the understanding, the way they communicate, the way they cover each other's back. And that's a lot more important than individual talent, right? You can have the best two center backs in the world play together. It doesn't mean it's going to work, right? We've seen it with PSG. They try to sign the best players in each position, and it's never worked out for them because football is just not about having the best 11. It's about having cohesion. It's about having players that know how to play together, that have that chemistry, and Cubarsí and Inigo have that. So even if Araujo is better than Inigo, individually speaking, even if Araujo is better than Cubarsí, individually speaking, doesn't mean that Araujo and Inigo are going to be better than Inigo and Cubarsí, or Araujo and Cubarsí are going to be better than Inigo and Cubarsí, right? It's about chemistry. And Cubarsí and Inigo right now, it's like they have one mind. They're sharing one big mind, and they just like so good together. And it sucks because Araujo is one of the best center backs in Europe, but it's just that's how it is when you're playing elite football. It's just no matter how good you are, sometimes there's just someone better. Olushola says, "Hello, Mo. I'd like to ask for your nationality, you Spanish or Pakistani?" None. Barca played real well. The pressing was great, and they were able to sell off the match. Our offside trap still works well. Indeed. During the second one, we got a little bit lucky with that Frankie de Jong loss. I mean, we got really lucky that it hit. I think it was Diallo. Hit his foot and ended up with Iñaki Williams. I got really lucky there. Frankie, I wouldn't give him a single minute. I mean, the best performance we've seen in Frankie was in a Copa del Rey against Barbastro, a 4th division team. That's the best performance we've seen. And even then, he wasn't like spectacular. He wasn't like, oh my God, Frankie. So even against 4th division team, I wasn't like, wow. I'm just done with him. Ade says, "We played well, so happy that Olmo and Pau Victor has given a temporary registration. I told you we would get him registered more. We are back and not stopping us. I think the young is shaky. Bisca Barca." I mean, I always maintain in my video, I said, I'm sure we're going to find a way to register Dani Olmo and Pau Victor, but at what cost? I always said what I thought was going to happen was that Barcelona was going to go to court. They were going to get a precautionary measure. That way they get Olmo and Pau Victor registered. And that way La Liga doesn't look bad because they get to be like, hey, look, we had nothing to do with it. Because remember, there were teams, including Athletic Club Bilbao, who were threatening to sue La Liga if La Liga approved the registration. So I always said from the beginning, I'm like, what's going to happen is Barcelona's going to go to court. They're going to get the registration. So they're going to get what they want. And La Liga gets what they want because deep down, they want Olmo to be registered. They need that. They need that money from that, that TV viewership that Olmo brings. They need that. But they can't approve it because they knew they had a lawsuit pending. But now they get to say, oh, I got what I want, but I had nothing to do with it. It was the court. If you guys mad at someone, go get mad at the judge, right? So I always said that was going to happen, but at what price? Selling clubs' assets at half price? I'm sorry, but that doesn't sit well for me. I'm very happy that Olmo and Pau Victor got registered. I celebrated it, but this is not a victory for Laporta. This is a loss because we already lost. But, unfortunately, Barcelona fans' memory is very short, and tomorrow people would have forgot everything that Laporta did and how he messed this up and how he cost us a lot and how he's going to cost us a lot for the next 20 years in lost revenue from those seats that he sold at half price. Today I was seeing people comment on a Barca post on Instagram. Valverde was such a great coach. I'm like, really? Is your memory that short? Did you guys already forget all the fiascos we had under Valverde? The Champions League against Roma, the Spanish Super Cup that we lost, the record that we could have set for most win. There was a lot of fucking blunders under Valverde, and he was a mediocre coach. But now people are like, oh, he was amazing. It's crazy. I'm sure in 10 years, people are going to be talking about how great Bartomeu was because that's just Barcelona fans for you. All right, let's see. Street Fighter says, and to send many people in the comment, sold Gavio. Oh, yeah. I never understood. Again, Barcelona fans have an incredibly short memory. You can have 10 great matches, and then your 11th one is bad, and all of a sudden people just forget about your 10 great matches, and all of a sudden you're just crap. Or the opposite, right? You have 10 bad matches, and you have good one, and all of a sudden you're the best ever, and you should be signed until 2050. But anyways. CD says, hi, Mo, watching from Gambia tonight. It's so special to me because Gabi scored the first goal. Amen, my friend. Amen. Let's all celebrate this victory, but the work is not done because we still have the final. We'll find out tomorrow who's going to be in the final, whether Real Madrid or Mallorca. I want to ask you guys, who do you guys prefer? Of course, Mallorca would be an easier opponent, so that would be benefit Barcelona. But at the same time, it would be nice to have another Clásico match, and it would be nice to win the Spanish Super Cup by defeating Real Madrid in the final, right? So let me know who do you guys prefer as an opponent in the final. And with that, I will end this live stream because, again, I'm going to do the podcast. I'll probably start the podcast around 7 p.m., maybe 7:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so around 15 to 30 minutes, because there's lots of news to covering, including the Dani Olmo and Pau Victor registration. Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. We're in the final. Let's celebrate that. I will see you in the live podcast. And as always, peace, guys.